doctor and an animal for defending the situation. I will say this. The cop was following a procedure.
Never said I oppose fracking. Show the tape. Put it on your website. Put it on the website.
Live from Clark Studios in Rochester, New York. Broadcasting around the world. You're listening to You Made It Political, where the voice of the keyboard warrior is finally heard and the arguments presented are put to the political test. And now, here's your host, Matt Clark.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the show. Today we have a lot of action-packed drama to get through. Drama that you are not going to see on mainstream media. They have completely buried all of the riot footage. And I'm talking about the underground stuff that CNN, Fox News, and most of the major networks, for some reason, are too afraid to show America. This is what's really going on behind closed doors. We all knew it was just a matter of time before BLM and ANTIFA took to the streets once again, but I at least thought we were going to be able to get through the George Floyd trial before all hell broke loose. As we know, a couple days ago, a young gentleman by the name of Daunte Wright resisted arrest in Brooklyn Center, Minneapolis. It turned into an accidental shooting, and unrest has broken out throughout several cities now across the United States of America. It is so out of control that ICE buildings are being set on fire and law enforcement has been barricaded inside. They have literally locked law enforcement inside these buildings before setting them on fire, leaving the law enforcement agencies to flee out the back door. That's the kind of footage that I will be showing you here today. Why we're not seeing this on CNN, Fox News, MSN, and pretty much every other mainstream outlet is beyond me. You got to go deep to find this footage. You got to be on some of these channels and Twitter, YouTube, but we've dug deep. We found the sources, and today we're going to show you the live footage. But before we get into all that, let's start back on April 8th, where Black Lives Matter protesters stormed the Iowa state capitol, to try and kill legislative bills they opposed. Their event was called Kill the Racist Bills. So they stormed the Iowa state capitol in an attempt to protest. Things got out of hand. Let's take a look. So before the Daunte Wright accident that occurred 2 days ago, BLM was already at it. The George Floyd trial's not even over yet, and they're already at it. And you're not going to see this stuff on mainstream. Why? Because the media are biased. The Democrats are in control. They want to bury anything that goes against their narrative. Well, they can't hide anymore. This stuff is everywhere. It's all over social media. And it doesn't take long to figure out who to follow to keep in touch with reality here, with what's really going on in America. So Andy Ngo, if you don't know Andy Ngo, he's a huge, big-time journalist, and he covers all of the Antifa and Black Lives Matter stuff. He will cover and get out anything that you won't be able to find on mainstream media. So on April 9th, a few days ago, he posts this video. Yesterday, Black Lives Matter protesters stormed the Iowa state capitol. So I don't ever want to hear in all these stupid arguments and debates, well, BLM never attacked federal property like you did on January 6th. That's not true. They have destroyed and defaced dozens, if not hundreds, of federal buildings across America right now. And they have stormed federal buildings, just like they did the Iowa state capitol a few days ago. I'm going to play the video for you. Watch how out of hand it gets, and watch how many people get arrested. I bet you didn't hear a single peep on mainstream media over this situation. Let's take a look.
Hey, what's the deal? Hey, whoa. What you doing, bro? What you doing, bro? What you doing, bro? Whoa. What you doing, bro? What the fuck are you doing, bro? What you doing, bro? See the kid. Hey, see the fucking kid, bro. What the fuck are you doing, bro? Yo, that's a fucking kid, bro. Yo, that's a kid, bro. Yo, that's a kid, bro. That's a kid, bro. That's a kid. That's a fucking kid. That's a kid. Get the fuck off her. That's a kid, dude. Man, get the fuck up off her, bro. Dude, that's a fucking kid, man. Dude, that's a motherfucking kid, dude. What the fuck are you doing, dude? That's a fucking kid right there.
I mean, do you hear how out of control the scene is getting? So Black Lives
Man, what
Matter
the fuck, dude?
went into an Iowa State Capitol building, thought they can act
What the fuck?
however they wanted to act.
Yo.
They started getting out of line.
That's that bullshit.
Naturally, the security dropped one of them to the ground, put him in handcuffs. They all freak out. They couldn't believe what was happening. Why? Because they're not used to getting attacked. They're not used to retaliation because for some reason, Black Lives Matter and Antifa think they have the golden ticket or carte blanche to do whatever they want without absolutely no recourse. Well, the Iowa State Capitol Police had another thing in mind, and they dropped these guys to the ground and they freaked out. And you can hear them screaming, F the police, F the police. This is their peaceful protest. This is them entering an Iowa State Capitol building to go and kill a racist bill that they didn't want to see put through. But you don't see any of this, none of this, on mainstream media. And all we did for days, months even, we're still feeling the backlash from what happened on January 6th at the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. We have been shamed and chastised for just a couple hours of protests gone wrong that ultimately turned into rioting that day. And you better believe we will never hear the end of that. But this happens in Iowa at a state capitol building, and we've heard nothing. It's complete crickets. So if it wasn't for some of these underground journalists to come forward, we never know this stuff existed. So this happened before the Daunte Wright killing. We haven't even gotten through the George Floyd trial yet. This stuff has been going on this entire time. But CNN, they won't cover it. Fox News doesn't cover it. You got to go over to Newsmax before you start to really see what really goes on here. Let's head over to our next video because we have a ton of this stuff to get through today. A ton of stuff that you are not going to see. Another story that stood out. This is shocking. Shocking. Racist messages were written on campus at Albion College in Michigan and sparked days of protest. So these racist messages were written on a campus in Michigan. However, the graffiti has been revealed to be a hate crime hoax by a black student. MSN reported the racist messages being written all over the college campus, but what they failed to tell us is that they were actually a hate crime hoax by a black student. A black student went around graffitiing racist messages all over the property, and then they blamed white people. This goes on all the time. And despite the actual hoax being uncovered, the students at Albion College continued to protest. They allowed the protest. Why? You'd think the protest would have been killed right there on the spot. Game over, right? It's been revealed that a black person wrote the racist messages trying to portray himself as a white organization. He then got busted. He got called out. It was then revealed as a hoax. And they still carried on with the protests. The media still wanted the protests to continue, even though nothing was done wrong here. And you wonder why the black community hates white people so much. You wonder why they won't shut up about white supremacy. Half of the stuff is a freaking setup. And when we uncover it and we reveal the truth, mainstream media doesn't want to cover it because they want to see the division continue. They want to see the violence grow. So you have to get off mainstream media and start going to these social media platforms to really find out what's going on here, because it's disgusting and it gets worse. It continues to get worse and worse. So now we're starting to get into the Daunte Wright accidental murder, and protests break out all over Portland. You've got Antifa in Portland and rioting going on all over Brooklyn Center in Minneapolis. So here's just a few videos of what's going on. Right here, what you're looking at, and this is where things get disgusting, an ICE building. Overnight, Antifa, this happened a couple nights ago. You're not going to see this on mainstream media, but this happened a couple nights ago. They're chanting, burn it down. They set fire to an ICE government facility with a chain link fence before setting it on fire in a terrorist attack. So you've now got in Portland, Antifa locked inside ICE officials. They locked them inside. They then set the building on fire. And you'll see here from a different angle, this is where the fire started to grew. They've chain linked the gate shut, so the ICE officials couldn't get through. And here's a far shot of it. Here's the moment the federal officers finally rushed out the back door after Antifa set the ICE facility on fire last night. Antifa barricaded the front of the facility to trap people inside while the building was on fire. This is what's going on. And nobody's been arrested. Where are all the arrests? For months after the insurrection, the FBI is still running all over the country trying to find people who broke a couple windows, who took a tour of the Capitol building. This is how disgusting and out of control and hypocritical this entire thing is. So yeah, people are pissed off right now. Pissed off at all the lies. And this is why we can't buy into the Black Lives Matter narrative. We're just disgusted by what we're seeing here. Antifa has set fire to this government facility. Not a single arrest. They trapped ICE officials inside the building, chanting, burn it down, burn it down. And you don't hear about this. This has been totally suppressed. You might have seen it on the local news, but it takes journalists, private journalists like Andy No, to cover this stuff, to tell you the truth. Because you're not going to get it on CNN. So this is one of the most disturbing videos that I have ever seen here. And this just goes to show how scary this situation is. I don't even know what to think at this point. I'm blown away, and I'm completely baffled at the fact that the FBI continues to chase a few patriots, or through patriots, or chase a few patriots who broke a few building or windows at the Capitol on January 6th. We called it an insurrection, which was total bullshit. We all know what really went on that day, and they won't shut up about it. Yet, Antifa, a highly violent organization and mob, locks ICE officials in the building, sets fire to the building, and we don't hear a single peep. And here you can hear them chanting, burn it down. Let's listen. Just so you know, they are chanting, burn the precinct to the ground. Every city. And this is what they're doing. Imagine if this was the Proud Boys trying to get their message of patriotism across throughout the United States. Why is this acceptable? All over a 20-year-old black kid. And again, race should be neither here or there. Color should not even be a factor in this situation. A young man, sadly, was killed after resisting arrest. And we have that video too if you haven't seen it. The female officer thought she drew her gun or thought she drew a taser. It was her gun. And at first, when I heard the story, I even commented publicly. I said, you know what? I don't know if I believe that. How do you mistake a taser for a gun or a gun for a taser? How do you mistake those two weapons? Shouldn't it be obvious? And I posted that saying, you know what? I'm not sure I buy into the story. But then I saw the video. I spoke a little bit too soon. I saw the video. And I'll show you guys the video of that right now. What sparked the arrest? And accidentally killed 20-year-old Daunte. Let's take a look at the video. This might be disturbing for some of you. I have to warn you. Let's take a look at the video. And you'll clearly hear her freak out. You might have to turn up your volume, guys, if you can't hear this, but turn up your volume. Let's take a listen. At the moment, the female officer realized she accidentally shot Daunte Wright. So you can hear in this video yelling, taser, taser. So she's warning the police officers, I'm about to use the taser. She yells clearly 3 times, taser, taser, taser. They back up. You can clearly see the officers back away. And then she fires the weapon, thinking it was the taser. She then says, oh, shit. As she's in disbelief. And she says, I shot him. You can hear it in her voice. Let's have another listen. And you can hear it in her voice. I know a lot of people aren't going to believe this. A lot of people are going to think this is staged. But thank God we have the body cam. Because after hearing the fear in her voice, after she yelled out, taser, 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 as a warning to the policeman to, I'm about to tase him. You need to get out of the way. They back up. She pulls the trigger. Right now, watch. They back out of the way because they hear her yell, taser, taser, taser. She shoots. She then says, oh, shit, I shot him, as he drives away and then later sadly dies. What happened? There's no disputing. This is a very tragic incident. But it started with the 20-year-old here about to get handcuffed. You can clearly see. He then resists arrest, jumps in the car. She goes to draw her taser. You can see the gun actually right there now in camera view. She thinks it's her taser. She yells, taser, taser, taser. The policemen back up. She shoots. She realizes, oh, shit, I shot him. He hits the gas and drives away. The whole thing went down so fast. So I'm torn here. After watching this video, I'm at a loss for words. I put on my Facebook page, I said, I'm at a loss for words over this one. The officer clearly says, taser, 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 as she draws her weapon. And then after she fires the weapon, she's shocked to learn she fired a gun, not a taser. You can hear the fear in her voice. Holy shit, I shot him. So whether you want to call it an accident or not, there is no excuse for the amount of violence that is going on in this country right now. And here's after. I just showed you that building of the ICE government, or the ICE building being set on fire with ICE officials being trapped inside. After officers rushed out from the back of the building, the facility, to put out the fires on the building set by Antifa last night, some of the Black Bloc militants challenged the officers to a fight. So now we have, whether it's BLM, whether it's the black community, regardless of what you want to call it, we now have them challenging these officers, the same officers they just tried to set on fire inside of a burning building. The officers now are free. You'd think they'd start rounding these guys up and arresting them. You'd think they'd start throwing them in the back of a paddy wagon. No,
Drop that
they don't. What do? They let them stand there and get up in the officer's face and challenges them now to a fight. Let's listen.
Drop that badge and let's fight! Drop that badge and let's fight! Have your police officers back off and I'll have them back off. Let's go, bitch! Yeah, he's not even looking at me because he's a little fucking coward-ass bitch. Yeah, he can't make eye contact with me. Yeah, come on, let's go. Drop that badge. Yeah, now you look away because you're a little bitch. Yeah, you too! Drop that badge, drop that gun, see what happens!
And these guys are just supposed to sit there and take this abuse. And it's no wonder that law enforcement is leaving at record pace. They just try to set these guys on fire inside of an ICE building. They flee, then they come out to the very mob that set the building on fire, and they're supposed to just sit here and take it. Why? Because the mayor has ordered a no fight back ordinance for these protests. No rubber bullets, no tear gas. The mayor has said to the law enforcement agencies in Brooklyn Center, you are not to fight back. You are not to go up against these people. You're supposed to just sit there and take it. Well, it's just a matter of time before all of these democratic cities, which is what they are, start to lose their entire agencies. Brenda, I see that you just posted. Brenda wrote on my Facebook wall, and I have to read this out loud to you guys. Brenda wrote, I've never seen nor held a taser, but I've held plenty of guns. The gun would be hella heavy compared to the taser. I don't believe the accident, bull. And Brenda, you know, I thought the same thing, and I'm going to go back to my post where I'm going to show you. There's a few people on my post who made comments who are cops. It's a good point, Brenda. I thought the same exact thing, and I just want to read what a few other people wrote in kind of response to Brenda's comment. Reggie wrote on my post yesterday, when situations like this take place, it becomes chaotic. Adrenaline starts flowing and you don't know what the outcome may be. That young managed to get back into his car. He could have had a gun. So unfortunate that this occurred, but being in situations somewhat like this during my career, so Reggie's clearly been in this situation before. He's an officer of some sort. I don't believe this incident was done purposely or with intentional malice. A split-second decision was made by that officer, and it turned out to be deadly. Don replied, I totally agree. Until you are in that situation, you never know to keep your thoughts to yourself. This is what creates problems, all the hearsay BS. Deborah also wrote, and this is where I kind of already tackled this. She was screaming, taser, 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 and then reaches for her gun. She says, shit, I shot him. Did she really think she had her taser? Who knows what happens in the heat of the moment? I want to know why the officer who had him with his hands behind his back was taking so long to get him cuffed. One officer even came up and took hold of Wright's arm as if to steady him to get him cuffed, and still he managed to wriggle away, get in the car, and drive away. The police lost control of that situation very, very quickly. Tony Ross says, pretty soon there will be no law enforcement left. Disgusting, the disrespect. Tony, I agree with you. This is getting out of control now. And when I watch videos of policemen, our poor officers, our poor law enforcement officers, not all of them are bad eggs. And I don't know. I don't know what to believe. I don't know. This could have easily been a mistake, an accident, but all of them throughout the country now are getting beaten up. Let's take a look at some of the rioting that's going on in these cities. So I don't care what the media says. There is nothing peaceful about a lot of actions being taken right now. This was the day of the shooting. There is nothing peaceful about this protest. Let's take a look. Conversation with my wife the other day, and she said, well, how do you know this is Black Lives Matter? And she raises a good point. How do we know? How do we know which riots, which protests are being influenced by Black Lives Matter? Well, for one, I see a gentleman there waving a Black Lives Matter flag. So that certainly doesn't help their cause. So now I have to think or assume that these people jumping on and defacing and destroying police property are associated with Black Lives Matter. But you're right. Not every single riot is endorsed or sponsored by Black Lives Matter. The problem is the black community, whether you want to label yourself as Black Lives Matter or Antifa, I don't care what you want to call yourself at this point. The black community is making a really bad name for itself right now in the way that they are retaliating to these situations. Nothing justifies the amount of violence that we see and that we're about to see. I used to rip on BLM hard, and I'm already starting to feel really bad about doing it because I know they are hurting. I know the black community is hurting so badly right now, and that they need us to rally with them. But it's hard to rally with them when all we see is actions like this, going up against police and law enforcement, which we so tirelessly back every single day. I'm a huge Back the Blue advocate, and I know a lot of my viewers are too, and I know a lot of the white community and the black community. There's a lot of black members of the community that back the blue. So when we see them go up against the very people that we are constantly defending, it's hard to rally with them because there's no way I'm going to take to the streets and start acting like an asshole and start defacing and destroying all of this property, especially the very law enforcement agencies that I support and will continue to support. No matter how out of control this gets, no matter how many accidents or unjust cop killings there are against black people, I will continue to back the blue because not every single law enforcement agent is a bad egg. It's a very small percentage. So that's going on. It then obviously turns into riots, and the looting's now started. The Brooklyn Center Walmart in Minnesota is broken into. So now this is the night of. The Brooklyn Center Walmart in Minnesota was broken into and looted in response to the BLM race rioting overnight after police shot dead suspected gang member who was trying to escape a warrant arrest. Let's not forget that Daunte Wright was a suspected gang member. He had a warrant out for his arrest. Yes, he was stopped at a traffic stop. There was a warrant, which is why they took him out of the car. Now we have members of the black community. We have BLM rioting and looting again. How does this bring justice to this young man? How does this get their point across? As soon as the riots and the looting starts, this is where I start to lose all respect. Walmart, GameStop. They looted GameStop overnight in response to BLM, inciting a riot and violence in Brooklyn Center after police killed the criminal evading arrest. Let's not forget, he evaded arrest. This is not a peaceful protest. Now let me show you some of the incidences where we see the inside. Here's the inside of O'Reilly's Auto Store. This is their version of retaliation. What does this do? They're destroying and looting their own stores in their own neighborhood once again. This happened to this poor store or this chain of stores last year. And now they're doing it again. Businesses in Minneapolis is never going to recover. We haven't even gotten through the George Floyd trial yet. And this is where we're already at. It's not only happened there, it's also happened at gas stations. Gas stations are being busted into. A gas station convenience store was looted clean by BLM rioters overnight in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota. Rioters and protesters are responding violently to police killing of a wanted criminal suspect who tried fleeing a vehicle. Here's the gas station. This is BLM's version of a peaceful riot. And again, if it's not BLM, then they need to tell the black community, cut the shit. Because they're not doing BLM any favors right now. When we see this, we immediately blame this organization. We immediately call them a terrorist organization. Here's a beauty store that was smashed into and looted during the BLM unrest and violence overnight. So I haven't shown you just one store. We're talking multiple, several, dozens of stores that have now been looted and broken into. Everything from gas stations to auto repair shops to beauty salons to Walmart to GameStop. Minneapolis is under siege right now. There's no disputing it. A liquor store destroyed this liquor store. Shattered it. I mean, the thing's trashed. Hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of inventory. And you guys, not you, my viewers, but how many people continue to back Black Lives Matter after seeing all of this? How can you stick a BLM flag in your yard or a sign in your yard? How can you hang a Black Lives Matter flag? And this is why I never supported the actual organization. The leader of Black Lives Matter just purchased herself a $1.9 million home. I've always questioned where the money's been going. And recently we just found out Marxist BLM founder racks up $1 million property empire with at least 4 homes. I don't see the money going to the black community, but I see the Black Lives Matter founder racking up a real estate portfolio that now contains at least 4 homes. Why don't we see her being questioned? I've always questioned where the money's going. Where's the tens of millions of dollars going? Not to the black community. It's going to this lady. It's going to her property portfolio. It is a corrupt and terrorist organization that only a very, very few people are ever going to benefit from. And I hope the black community starts to wake up to this nonsense, starts to wake up to this total bullshit, because that's what it is. I've shown you countless video after video. I don't know what else I can do to prove to the American people that Black Lives Matter is not the innocent organization that they continue, or CNN continues to paint them out to be. And then after all of this, a group of women sing and dance outside of stores that were looted, throwing it all back in the cops' face. Let's take a listen to this is their looting cheer that they're celebrating with after they've destroyed half of Minneapolis overnight. Let's take a listen. Steal all the cell phones out of T-Mobile, and they're finishing their victory with a celebratory dance for George Floyd and Daunte Wright. That's really what's going to get you the sympathy of the American people. That's going to really win us over and bring us together in order to put an end to this injustice once and for all. Here's the moment a Black Lives Matter rider decides to pick up a brick, gets ready to throw it at police, and gets taken out. Understandably, Brooklyn Center, Minnesota, BLM rider who was about to throw a large chunk of concrete at police was hit with an impact munition. He falls to the ground in pain. So if CNN shows you the story of a black man getting hit by a rubber bullet, it's because he decided to pick up a brick and throw at him. Let's watch. So here he is right there in the left corner of the video, he's ready to pick up the brick. He's going to threaten to launch a brick at the police. There he goes. He picks it up, and he just gets shot by this gentleman right here. But CNN won't show you that. They'll only show you the part where the National Guard shoots a rubber bullet at the man. What they probably won't show you is the fact that he had a 200-pound brick he was about to hurl at law enforcement. That is grounds to be shot with a real bullet, as a matter of fact, with a real bullet, because you are now threatening an officer's life with that brick after they defaced and destroyed the police cars. But nobody's getting arrested. Not a single person's getting arrested. Yet, months after the January 6th insurrection, the FBI is running around the country looking for a few people who took a tour of the Capitol building and broke a few windows. At best. At best. That's how hypocritical this entire shit show really is. And what's even more disturbing about this entire thing is that the journalists even tried to get the chief of police was holding an interview yesterday. Chief Gannon was right there, front and center at the protests, and he called it a riot. The journalists have said, don't do that. There was no riot. Chief Gannon says, yes, there was. The officers were being pelted with frozen cans of pop, pelted with concrete blocks. An officer was hit in the head with a brick. Remember at the January 6th insurrection when Officer Sicknick was allegedly smashed in the head with a fire extinguisher, which we've never seen to this day, and it was the biggest news ever for the year? And now officers are being hit in the head during these riots, and we don't hear a single thing about them. All of a sudden, officers don't care anymore. We only seem to care about officers when white people protest. But as soon as the black community protests, nobody cares about police anymore. We don't care if they get hurt, injured, killed. We don't care if they get locked inside of an ICE building and set on fire. None of that matters anymore. No longer are they worth anything to us because they don't fit the narrative. Because for some reason, we are pandering to the left and the black community. We have been this country has been held hostage to the black community. And I love black people. I'm the last person you can ever call racist, but I'm calling out the hypocrisy right now. Because it's either open game for everybody to be violent or we all need to cut the shit. And I've spoken about this so many times last summer. And here we are again, Black Lives Matter, Season 2, only this time starring Antifa, because Antifa now is right next to them. Let's listen to this interview where Chief Gannon says, you're wrong. The reporters try to say, don't do that, don't call it a riot. And Chief Gannon says, yes, it is a riot. Let's listen.
One final question. What was your decision to issue a dispersal order while they were peacefully protesting in front of the police station? What led to you to issue a dispersal order, and then on the back end of that 10-minute dispersal order, then to issue out CO2 canisters and gas for the crowd?
So, yeah, just so everybody's clear, I was front and center at the protest, at the riot. We did not.
There was no riot.
There was.
That there
So,
was, in fact, a riot. And he calls them out and says, yes, there is a riot. So the journalists, for some reason, they are doing everything they can to not let anybody consider this to be a riot. And it doesn't help when you have tweets like this going around. Loot and burn everything. So Amani Gandhi, a Twitter follower, she says, yeah, if it weren't for looting, black people would be free already. So if it weren't for looting, black people would be free already. At this point, this country should be thankful black people haven't already burned this shit to the effing ground. And this is the type of rhetoric that we're now hearing. Black Lives Matter has already come out and said, we are going to burn these cities to the ground. We are going to start attacking all of these different cities, to the point now where Minnesota or Minneapolis, this is the city of Brooklyn Center, putting up concrete barricades at the police stations now, following a mass BLM rioting and looting overnight over the shooting of Daunte Wright. So they're setting up barricades. They've had enough. We're in full-blown riots. You can't even mistake this for peaceful. Brittany wrote, I don't know why they didn't use the rubber bullets before they smashed the car. Brittany's good point. I don't know why they don't do anything. I don't know why they just sit here and let these gangsters, these thugs, these gangbangers, what I'm referring to them at, because this is not peaceful, this is total rioting. Brittany said, why didn't they use the rubber bullets before they smashed the car up? I'll tell you why, Brittany, because the mayor has made it very clear they are not to lose any force whatsoever. Even though all of this is going on, they're not to use force. And that came from a direct order from the mayor of Brooklyn Center. He came out yesterday and said they are not to use force. And I'll go to that right now. For those of you guys who aren't following, follow Breaking 911. You'll get the real truth. If you haven't followed on Twitter, following Breaking 911, these guys report some of the most accurate details of what's going on as far as Black Lives Matter and Antifa is concerned. So yesterday, and I posted this on my wall as well. We'll take a look here. Breaking 9/11 reported, which I thought was absolutely disgusting. As soon as I can find it. Here you go. Breaking Brooklyn Center. City Council approves resolution banning crowd control tactics during protests, including rubber bullets and tear gas. Minneapolis is about to officially become the epicenter of hell on earth. So that's why, Brittany, Brooklyn City Center Council has approved a resolution last night banning crowd control tactics during protests, including rubber bullets and tear gas. So that's your answer. That's exactly why they aren't allowed to do it. The whole thing's disgusting. They allow everybody to get away with it. And now we have a real crisis on our hands. America is going down. These cities are going down. And this is how you know it's going down. Because even the black community wants nothing to do with CNN anymore. I always thought Black Lives Matter was all about showboating. I thought the Democrats were all about showboating, using Black Lives Matter as their little game to win votes. Where are the Democrats now? They're gone. The Democrats know they've lost control, and they don't want to step back in right now because they owe it to the black community for all their votes. Hence the reason the Democrats are being very silent on this. Where's Kamala Harris now? Where's Biden? He hasn't said a word on this. Where's Bernie Sanders? Where's AOC, who used to run her mouth? Where's Chris Cuomo, who said peaceful or protests don't have to be peaceful? Where's Maxine Waters now? Where are all the Democrats during this situation? They're gone. So they've bailed on the black community. So now CNN, who used to control the narrative, has also lost control. You want to know how? Because last night, a black man told CNN, get the hell out of here. You're making matters worse. Black Lives Matter, who used to love the limelight. They used to love the attention. You saw them going around with their cell phones, taking selfies, waving their flags. It was all showboating last year. The tune has changed. And this is how I know things are way more dangerous than they used to be. Let's take a look at a video of CNN trying to interview a black man, and he said, get the hell out of here. You're in the wrong place. We don't want you here. You are making things worse. So a Black Lives Matter member tells CNN they are making things worse. You all need to get up out of here. Let's take a listen.
Try to sort of stand in the street a little bit. You look there. Now you can see. Now you can see.
Y'all be twisting up the stories.
You want to
and
talk
shit
to
that
me?
y'all doing.
Do you want to talk to me? Okay, cool. No, don't take my mic, but we're cool. Okay. What's your name?
What's my name? My name is my name.
All right. So tell me what you think about what's going on here.
What I think about this is all the press and all the extra shit y'all do makes this worse.
You think so?
Yes. When people want to protest, they shouldn't do it in front of a fucking police courthouse. Shit like that. You get what the fuck I'm saying?
I want you to be careful. I want you to be careful. I really do.
Of what?
Of anything that can hit
what?
you. Of anything that can hit you. Look at all the stuff. Of this.
Of what?
Of this.
Do it look like I'm scared?
No, you don't.
Do it look like I'm scared?
You don't. You don't.
Exactly. Y'all need to get up out of here with all that twisting up the media ass shit.
Okay.
Real shit.
You don't know me, but we're going to get to know each other. That's what we're going to do.
Each other,
yes,
huh?
we are.
Let's see.
We are.
How you gonna know me?
We're gonna talk. I'm gonna share a number
let's
with
go.
you. All right, let's do it.
No, let's do it right
Let's
here.
do it. All right, here's my phone. Let's go ahead and share me a number.
Talk about something that's real.
Tell me what's real.
Y'all just gonna edit out the shit that y'all
We're
don't
live.
want, and then y'all gonna edit out some other shit.
We're live right now.
You're not fucking live.
I'm live right now.
I don't care if you live or not.
Okay, but
get
we
away
can't
from here
edit
with
this.
all that
This is
media
live.
shit that
This
y'all
is
doing.
right now.
So as you
Look,
We're with CNN.
then take that camera all the way the fuck up there.
We
Then
are going up there.
take it all the way the
That's
fuck
where
up
we
there.
stopped us.
Y'all doing all the extra shit for the
And they're
backhand
willing
shit
to
to make
take
people
down
look all crazier
We're
than what
going
the fuck
up
they
there.
are.
All right, then you watch us because
Take
look
y'all
where
ass
we're
up
going.
there.
Their point. But that is not how you do it. That is not how you get justice. And I, as well as so many other American citizens, are getting sick of this violence now. Sick of the fact that these poor bystanders in these cities who never asked for this, who worked their entire lives to build up their businesses, are now caught in the line of fire, and their city councils are doing nothing about it. If anything, they're being completely counterproductive. They are telling the law enforcement agencies to stand down. They are telling them to not use force during these, what they continue to call protests. You just saw that video. There is nothing peaceful about any of this situation. We don't even have to pretend this shit is peaceful anymore. BLM is not even pretending this is peaceful. Everybody knows it's straight up war from here on out. Our law enforcement across America is under attack. Full stop. And I feel bad for all of these agencies in these democratic cities who are getting held hostage to this bullshit. Because that's exactly what's going on. They are absolutely getting held hostage. Before we end today's show, I want to read a comment I left on one of my friend's posts this morning. He continues to shame white supremacy. He continues to talk about their insecurity. I'm not going to bring up his name out of respect for him because he doesn't know I'm pulling his comment up. But he wrote, white supremacy is really about insecurity. If they truly thought they were superior, why did they create and maintain systems to keep everyone else down? Here's my comment. Because I'm so sick of me being lumped in with white supremacy just because I'm white. The same reason every black person is sick of being lumped in with these violent and domestic terrorist attacks. So it works both ways, people. My reply to this was this. Unless you start changing your tune and start fighting with your brains instead of your emotions, this shit is never going to end. You think you're going to get any justice at all for Floyd and Wright with the way the black communities are acting right now? No chance. Stand up and fight with your head, and I promise you guys can end this crap quick. Leave your irrational and highly emotional baggage at the door. Not you, Greg, but in general. This is really bad now, and for the first time ever, I actually feel awful for the black community. But they are going about it all wrong. It's getting harder for me to even rip on BLM because I know how badly they are hurting. But you guys are fighting an uphill battle on your own. You keep blaming white people, which is 87% of the entire United States population. No way you're winning this war without us. But you keep calling all of us the enemy. We are not, Greg. The system is the enemy. You keep alienating us with this white supremacy bullshit. And where has it got you 1 year later? Absolutely nowhere. I think both black people and white people need to start coming together to fight this war peacefully. That's a battle I will 100% get behind. But they got to change their tune. What I've shown you here today is not how they're going to get the job done. This is not how you get justice for anybody, especially these men who were killed. Because at the end of the day, we do need to consider the fact that life was lost here, regardless of whether they resisted, regardless of whether they had warrants out for the rest, regardless of whether they were in gangs. Somebody lost their son, brother, dad, boyfriend. And if we truly want to get over this situation, we do all need to come together. What we watched here today, they are never in a million years going to get justice. So, the moral of the story is the media continues to lie. Mainstream media won't show you anything that I showed you today. I showed you countless videos of burning, looting, rioting, stealing, all in the name of justice. And we all know they're not going to win this war, especially with how violent they're all behaving. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today and watching You Made It Political. We go live every single morning, 10 o'clock on weekdays. We live stream to both Facebook and YouTube, and we also upload all of our content to Amazon Music, Spotify, TuneIn, and a few other platforms, Google Podcasts, any of them. Just search You Made It Political online, and you'll find us everywhere. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow, same time, right here at 10 a.m. I just love doing these shows. You guys have been great. Thank you so much for your support, everybody. Have a great rest of the day.
Thanks for listening to You Made It Political with Matt Clark. Be sure to like, follow, or subscribe to the show, or leave us a review on iTunes. And if you like our show or want to know more, check out YouMadeItPolitical.com.